Welcome to Just One Thing, the real estate podcast where we cut the noise and get to the good stuff. I'm your host, Chaya Klein with One Real Estate. Each episode, I sit down with a guest who knows their field inside and out to talk about things most people wish they understood before diving into real estate or business decisions. Whether you're buying, selling, leasing, renovating, or just trying to figure it all out, this show is here to give you the clarity, insight, and confidence you need to take the next step. Let's get into it. There's a difference between being successful and being a visionary. Success is knowing how to work within the system. Vision is seeing where the system breaks and having the clarity and the courage to build something better. Because the truth is that most people don't change industries, they adapt to them. Today's guest did the opposite. I'm so excited to be sitting here with Ira Zlotowitz, the founder and president of Avery GPT. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so before we start talking about Avery, do we call it Avery? We call it Avery GPT.
We're going to be on a first name basis with Avery.
Okay, great. We want to hear a little bit of your background. And I've heard your story before of how you started literally as a kid, but I find it fascinating. And I think that our listeners would love to hear how we got to this point. I remember you telling me a story of doing a sale that no one else was able to do. Do you remember what I'm referencing?
No, but it sounds good on there. It's good.
There was
it's
a client
good thing that the audience knows we have no
one,
notes here right now.
There was a client that no one wanted to touch and no one wanted to work with.
Over the course of the career since now, there's a lot of clients like that.
Yeah, true.
You realize that some clients are very, I don't know if you come across on your side of, I know we deal with the same industry.
No, I have very easy clients.
Only easy clients, right? Right. And they love to pay their fees.
Everyone.
They don't negotiate.
Yeah. Nobody, no.
And when someone tries to go around, they say, please.
Want more. They
exactly
want to give
right.
more. Yeah.
Right. They say, please call Chaya. I don't want to deal with it. So I was in sales my whole life. And, I felt help you. I learned it from the best, my father. And the real lesson of my father, as I tell him, blessed memory, he founded Art Scroll. He told me most people make the mistake of trying to convince people of your product. The sale is really try to ask questions, see the wind is blowing, and then know which client is probably going to buy from you and position yourself for that buy. So he used to take pride that he almost never got a no when he was out fundraising, whatever he was doing. Not because he's the greatest. Because if I would ask everyone I meet for money, I would have gotten a lot of no's.
Right.
But I don't make the ask until I know I can provide value. And if I can't, so I built the trust. When I make the ask, I also know at that time what's the right product to. So when I'm starting to work with a client, I do the same thing. I'm spending a lot of time to understand what the client really needs. Listen, I got onto the scene, whatever day I call him for the first time. He didn't wake up yesterday. I'm calling him because he's a player. So apparently he got to this point in his life with owning 3 buildings, 10 buildings, 100 buildings for me. And if he doesn't meet me, he'll still do deals without me. Right. So I want to understand who he uses in the past. Why does he like that person? And based on how he describes that, I could say, you know something? I'm going to make the pitch. You should stay where you are. Or if I'm making the pitch, I knew that I could provide that extra value. And it sounds from the conversations that he'd want it. So spending the time talking to clients this way and understanding them fully and then getting to a point to be able to deal with them, still they can be difficult at times. But at least you try to put things into a box and understand with the goalposts. And if we could play within the goalposts, we'll do business together. And if we can't, we can't. But unfortunately, as you're seeing here, and we'll talk about a little bit today, is that the world is changing at a rapid pace. When I first came into the business, for the most part, it's been the same business for the last 20, 30 years, people doing business. I came in 97, and that's when banks started really merging to each other. There used to be a lot of small banks. Don't forget the internet started in 2001. That's when people started getting emails and then cell phone service.
You were doing this before emails were even a thing.
Right.
Wow.
Totally. So how it used to work then actually is that no one even thought, I'm going to get an email for each person. There wasn't like company accounts. It was AOL in the beginning. So a company had an email address, like if you're One Real Estate, you're One Real Estate at AOL.
Right.
And then some secretary in the front, her job was to check it. And every time an email came in, depending, would print it out and put it on the desk. And then you'd tell her what to reply back to that person on the other side of the email. So obviously,
we've come a long way.
Yeah, you talk about cell phone service, right? Cell phone service was also like, my father got this first cell phone. It was in the car, like $3 a minute. When I started making sales calls, you call a client, like, you call me on my cell phone? Like, who calls people on a cell phone?
Had to get my number, right?
No, it's private. You don't call, even you knew the person's number. You don't call me on my cell phone. And that's when it went down in price. And then it was just a crazy, business. People don't understand T1 lines and how a lot of this stuff works today. Like, We actually thought when someone came, we give you unlimited plan on minutes for like $100 a plan. I was like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. Because before that, if you're paying $2 a minute, so we're trying, how are they making money? It was the opposite. They never made money per minute. They knew they had this line. It cost them $1 million, let's say, to put this tower in this neighborhood. And they thought they're going to sell 1 million minutes this month. So in order to break even, they got to charge $1 a minute. But as the world started using more and more cell phones, it's the same cost. And now I feel like, my parents would say, when we were kids, we were able to ... I'm not doing this for like 200 years. Even now, we take AI. I'll tell you a crazy story. There's a real estate course, the PCS, David Lichtenstein real estate course. And I gave a session and this kid comes over to me afterward. He's like, knows everything. He's underwriting 10, 15 deals a day. And I tell the kid, like, what's going on?
Where'd
How
you
do you
learn
know the
this?
business from?
Yeah.
Because I learned it from Claude. He goes, I talk to my tutor 2 hours a day. I ask questions. I go back to the broker tells me, go back and forth. It underwrites the deals for me. It teaches me everything. He says, let me tell you what I learned in this class today. I came into this business 6 weeks ago. He says, I thought that everyone had Claude. And it's been like this always. I didn't realize this is the newest version of Claude is this good. So I don't know anything beyond Claude. So I don't have to learn debt service coverage. I asked him, what does debt service coverage mean? On the deal. Why did it fall short? It's like, it's a new world.
It's a new world.
Totally new world.
See, we thought that coming from 1997, you said you started, to like 2008, 10 was the technology and what you were able to do was like, wow. But really, it's going at such a fast pace that I think that what we've been able to accomplish in the last year, as opposed to what we've been able to accomplish in the last, before that, 20 years, is significantly faster. And the impact that it's going to have on people and their businesses and their careers is amazing. College used to be a thing. Like you said, just this is a perfect example with this guy. You keep hearing it more and more that people who were very into college degrees and going to the best colleges, it really is almost worthless for them today if they don't understand how the new world is operating.
So you talk about colleges. So there's two parts, obviously, in the colleges. Somebody needs a degree. You have no choice. And then there's certain parts of college that people went to, which are the fact that they met all their connections there. So a lot of times as Orthodox Jews, where we get the equivalent without the college is the fact that we have to pray with 10 people.
Yep.
So you have to go to synagogue. So we're always that 3 times a day. So that's like your mini networking on the way in and way out.
I always
hopefully
tell
not during.
That my minion is at Quick Check in the morning. But yes, a male in this industry or in any industry really has an advantage of networking at any time.
No, but you can't take the example of your Quick Check in the morning because at the end of the day, you're never sitting down with that person and really getting to know them.
Correct. I'm joking. Yeah.
But college is that same equivalent. People say there's a competitive advantage. That is going to be lost when colleges stop, that part. But on the other hand, it's not worth the price you're paying for it.
I think that there's another piece also that there are people that were paying for brand name colleges because it got them further in their career, which I don't think that's going to continue.
Totally gone.
Right. That's gone. And that's not going to continue happening because the brand name is not going to mean anything anymore.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's get into the exciting part. Let's talk a little bit about your baby, your project, how it affects regular people, how it affects people in the industry, what it is exactly.
Avery.
Right.
So
we're on a first name basis.
First name 100%. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that we're, So it's Avery, Claude, the same circles. So basically, where everyone felt the industry was going to, is AI is going to take over? Is it going to take over? Is it going to be automation? How's it going to work? Do I need a human? It's not going to replace you. All the big questions that come out there.
Right.
And, I thank God that it was a very tough last few years in real estate in general. It was tough having a startup. There was a crazy amount of money that was raised to revolutionize the finance industry. It was under the umbrella of GParency. And a lot of mistakes were done in the marketing. Now at least people could see what Claude could do and they could relate to, a machine could help me more than the past.
Right.
But go back a couple of years ago, so foreign. And when I opened up, they couldn't understand it was mixed together. Technology, human, the whole thing was mixed together. And what we just basically did is said, okay, let me strip out all of the technology, all the AI from GParency, open up a new company, Avery GPT, within its name. And even GPT, everyone knows, ChatGPT, Avery GPT,
right.
So it's AI. But the truth is the new AI models are not with GPT and part of it. It's Claude, it's Gemini.
Right.
It doesn't even use it in an interesting way. That's why I'm also dropping the first name. So if you're old school, Avery GPT, but it's Avery, not just first name basis joke, is that the world operates in the first name. But basically, I kept GParency, and GParency's thing is the human side of it, what we call human.
Just tell us a little bit of what GParency actually does.
So I'll go the background.
Okay.
I never looked at myself as a mortgage broker. I looked at myself as a trusted advisor in the finance space. If you're putting yourself in a corner. I'm a mortgage broker. That means if one day the mortgage industry changes or disappears, then you disappear with it.
Right.
And I want to be able to stay relevant always. I bought the domain AI Cref. AI Cref, commercial real estate finance. But the play on the AI is Ask Ira. And I want to play on the thing. Ask Ira when it comes to finance. And I'll tell you, between one of my 3 companies going the same technique my dad taught me, don't sell them. How do you go about financing for this deal? I want to do this myself. You should use Avery. I need a human to help me with parts of it. Mortgage assurance, shop it, underwrite. I want the human side with it. That's GParency, mortgage assurance. I want the full-fledged brokerage. Bring it Eastern Union. So I'll bring you back to my former partner. He's running it. Bring it. There's a whole top brokers there. So I'm not going to convince you, do you need A, B, C, or D?
You tell me what you need and we'll provide.
Tell me you need, I'll talk it out. And I'll tell you which company, the 3 distinct companies, which company is the best for you based on what you want. I can have my own opinion where the industry is going to. What % of people are in the future are going to want this company over that company or a hybrid over next? So they have these Russian dolls that you open as another doll inside. So I really look at that. Avery's in the inside. It's the tech, it's the data, it's the banking data, it's the core. Then I want a human. Oh, let me put a human to help me shop it. That's GParency on top of it. No. I don't want to know what you do behind the scenes. I want to talk to a human, like I'm talking to you. It's going to take me to closing.
Take care of the whole thing.
A to Z, I'll pay it at closing. That's Eastern. So which one do you want? You want the whole experience, part of it? But it's 3 different companies. The person at Eastern is not offering the other products, and they want to stay far away. The person in technology is not relating to someone who wants to use a human. It's 3 distinct, separate businesses. So where the world is going to today, where it is today, right? The world is, it's no longer, it's going to get there. So it's no longer, it's a visionary. It comes to a point where I think AI is past me. And like really think about where is it going to be? And over the last few weeks, I got scary clarity of where it is and how it's going to affect the commercial real estate space, which never was just, it was like futuristic. It's not like futuristic. It's sitting here. It's hitting here, unfortunately, live today. And on one hand, it's positive for certain people. On one hand, it's very scary for a whole segment of people that have certain roles across the commercial real estate space. Right. That those roles, if they have to readapt or find something totally different.
Yeah. One thing that you said that really stuck with me is you said when you were doing GParency and you were starting up, there was a certain failure because the messaging wasn't clear. And what I think is amazing is that we always say you don't grow and you don't learn from your success, but you grow and you learn from your failures. And that's amazing because that is where this whole Avery GPT came from. Had it been clear and had it been rolling, you probably wouldn't be searching and looking for what to do to improve.
Well, to a certain extent, yes, right? You have a business. You can look at your business. Thank God it's successful. I'm sure people give you ideas how you can make it better. And you're not going to listen fully to some of those ideas. Some of it is because you don't want to take the risk of something good that's working. Some of it is because you don't think it's a good idea. When things aren't going good, you have no choice. There are people invested who basically over the time, they told me, I wrote off the investment. I never, now at least they said, wow, I see how everything starts coming together. Right? Avery was literally last month out of the gate and the numbers are through the roof and the love of what's there. And we're just getting started there. There's another big part of it, thank God, is that over the last couple of years, people spent millions of dollars building things, building tools, building underwriting tools, all these things. The new version of Claude, that was obsolete. Literally 4 months ago, we built this thing called an OM reader. And we spent months of people working on it. And it got it to a point it could take your OM and it could summarize it for you and it could store it for you. And I'm trying to name it. My son told me, Dad, I feel bad. Maybe $300 of in there we could use going forward. But on the other hand, today, we launched the beta today that we embedded Claude into Avery with all the underwriting skills that are there. So instead of us building it and being in that business of trying to build and compete in the tech world, I'm staying very focused because I think the future is data and distribution. People are going to pay for data that they can't get from online, someone scraping it. Right. Or like there's a clearinghouse that does things. So I want to be very clear. I want each company to do one thing. You need data, you're coming to Avery. All the AI tools you can build yourself, I'll give it to you for free. Why should I charge you for it? So every resource I give you, I know you're going to Claude, then you're downloading from Claude, and you have to store the document somewhere here. So let me embed Claude inside with all the skills. And I'm getting from all real estate people, different parts of the business, where the skills they use, like it's a prompt for those that are not familiar with the word skills on Claude. And you could come to Avery, see it, someone else's thing, download it, take it home with you. I don't really care because you're starting here. You want to use my Claude, you want to use it, I'll give you $5 for free worth of tokens, or hook up your API key and keep using it and build at home. Or I'll
And as they're improving Claude, it's automatically improving within. You don't have to be busy with that.
So that's my point. I don't want to be
the beauty.
Right. But I was like so close to starting to go down that path and building. And there's a competitor in this space that was taking credit in a good way where he built for brokers amazing tools, how to underwrite and tracking and all these things. And like He just had to literally last week change his whole pricing model because no one's paying subscriptions for that anymore.
Right.
And I'm going to Claude. So why are you better than Claude? That's the starting point. Think about you have a great employee. You're nervous someone's going to hire that great employee. The employee walks and he says, listen here, Chaya, I only have half a day's worth of work. Can I work for a competitor the other half a day? You can say, no way, that's not happening. Over here, you're letting Claude work for your competitors. Everyone is using the same Claude.
Right.
So what's interesting is that you have a client, a lot of the stuff that we do as brokers, spinners, the client is much more knowledgeable when they call you now. When a client goes into Claude, they get the same questions as you. Why are you going to this building? I went on to Claude and I asked ... So like I tell people, you want to be a good broker? Go check out what Claude says about this building because that's what your client's saying when they look on Claude and have answers for those questions or those thoughts that are going on. But we're going to be in a world now where everyone is going to have knowledge at the fingertips. Experience is not going to be worth much, or worth almost nothing. The human side of it, the talking, the creativity, that differentiates you. But any new person using Claude or a senior person using Claude will get the same type of results. So the whole play becomes different.
So let's talk about people who are in the industry. What should they be focusing on today? Where do you think it's going?
So I'll tell you the one guarantee they have to do. If someone came to you and said, I want to work in real estate, but I don't have a phone, cell phone. I don't use a computer. I'm amazing with an adding machine. And I really know real estate cold. There's under no circumstance you can hire the person. You probably actually walk out and like write them off. Okay. If they imagine the person was under 30, what would you say? You wouldn't even like, it's craziness. Not knowing how to use and utilize every single tool that exists. When I told people in the last couple of weeks, Claude, many people, successful people said, what Claude? What's Claude? You cannot know what Claude is. You want to not know all the things it does. You don't have to understand the latest, but you want to be successful. I tell the worst age to be in this world going through is 30 to 50. The toughest thing is on you. If you sales, it's a different story. But if you have a job, 30 to 50 is the toughest because someone over 50 has much more experience. They could train junior people with AI. Like my new tagline that I'm doing for my ad campaign is you, Claude, and Avery is all you need to do a deal. Who's the you? Whoever you are. If you're an owner, you're a broker, I don't care who you are. You, Claude, and Avery. So the person that's 20 years old, 25 years old, that's using Claude, that same version of you when you were 25 using Claude, and could have a 50 plus year old mentor helping them if they even need that person, what else do they need? So the person 30 to 50 has a tougher time because what do they bring extra to the table? Their lifestyle is more expensive. Yeah. Would I rather have a 35-year-old than a 25-year-old if I'm paying the same price as 25? Yes, but the world doesn't work that way. Right. Now it's going to change. So your chance you have to become the expert in whatever tool AI could do. So if I know that the best, it's like someone told me, everyone's losing a job. I said, yeah, but at least know everything, so you're the last to go. You're the last to go. So you're playing for the last to go. But in this world, I tell you great stories. So I know you interviewed Mendy. Yes. Mendy Palace, my son-in-law, he gives the presentations. So he tells over the story that he's giving a company has 100 employees. He's talking to the employees. And he's on the phone giving the demo of how everyone should use AI. And this guy, every time he says something, this kid online that says, oh, I do that. Oh, I do that. Like, he wanted to like shoot the kid, but he's a vendor.
He's the presenter, right.
The next day, this kid calls him up and goes, I have to thank you. I said, what are you thanking me for? You thanking me because I didn't say anything to you? He says, after the presentation, my boss realized that if the company doesn't adapt and everyone starts using ChatGPT or Claude and move into AI, we can become obsolete as a company. It's not about you have your job. Some companies will disappear. Right. And he realized you got to change. And he realized from the phone call that I'm the only one in the company who knows everything. He gave me a 50% promotion to be in charge of making sure that everyone in the company knows to use AI and we can move all the automation into the company. So you want to be that person. Now, if you're the first person and you're 50 years old, you'll get that job. But you have to know.
I think it's harder for a 50-year-old to adapt to the technology. I mean, you see little babies and they somehow know how to swipe and they know how to,
They're born into it.
Yeah.
But like, my dad used to say when he was 70, I'm the youngest 70-year-old you know. There's some people who are older 30 and
that's true.
So it's a mindset. But again, here's what I think the positive parts are, just in general. The moat, and I'm seeing it firsthand with even by Abe Bergman, who runs Eastern today, sent out a memo to the whole company. Just want to let you know that in light of AI and all the changes, and how you need all the resources, going into 2027, we're going to be reshuffling the company to make sure that your commission structure is going to be higher. So Uber did not destroy drivers, it destroyed companies. How many car service companies do you know of today? A couple, right? Right. You go to Uber, Lyft, and a couple local places. It used to be a million local places. Right. What's going to happen is that brokerage shops, if you ask people why they work at a brokerage shop, the reasons that they work at a brokerage shop change drastically with this new version of Claude. And either the shop is going to have to compensate them accordingly, but some shops aren't built if everyone was getting 10, 20, or 30% higher. The life-changing moment for me, this whole thing was 2 weeks ago. Prior to 2 weeks ago, every person who told you about AI fit into one of two buckets. They were either the tech enthusiast. They know everything about tech. They're so cool. They know what's coming out. Or they're the lower level person in your respective industry. That's not the case anymore. Right now, 2 weeks ago, I got a phone call from the top equity broker at Eastern. Called a meeting with me and with Abe Bergman. I just have to tell you, as you know, equity is the most complicated deal to put together. So many tabs in the Excel spreadsheet, IRR, waterfall, all these different things. Because I'm not using an underwriter anymore. Now, the person who typically he would use is a very nice six-figure position. And I said, why would you spend the time? Okay, I know you could do it yourself. You want an underwriter. He said, let me show you. Open up Claude. Took all the documentation they would have emailed over to the underwriter. Told Claude, do some research for me. Tell me what's good or bad about this deal. And put it totally together. And he told him exactly what he wanted. With an Excel spreadsheet, do it. He just told it. And 6 minutes later, it produced an amazing Excel spreadsheet that you would get from a top analyst, top underwriter. He'll make mistakes.
I was going to say, how's the accuracy?
He spent maybe 2-3 minutes afterward. Sometimes a little more. This new version, that accuracy question is like
it's so sophisticated.
It's crazy. It's like next level. But even so, you review it. He goes, no problem. So I always reviewed it when an underwriter sent it back to me. But now at least I got it back 6 minutes later.
Right.
Here. I also got back ideas about the property. I'm much more knowledgeable in these 6 minutes. So it takes me less time. Why would I bring someone else to do it? So obviously things are going to change this way, right? If I'm the broker, typically most people are great in sales, are not that organized. Claude is not your partner. So a lot of the things start becoming efficient that you're able to go in and do. So the scary part and the reality check for me was it's no longer futuristic. It's here. When I'm friendly with someone as a partner in Price Waterhouse, the largest accounting firm, they don't believe accountants are going to be in existence soon. They retooling their company for consulting, like trusted advisor as a mortgage broker, trusted advisor on the accounting part of it. Regular account, that's what they think.
Right.
Now, are there going to be accountants? People, of course, people do, but they look at like that industry where people are going to pay that kind of money. Everything's changing. My scary part is that I think about is that the owners that you have some of your clients are very sophisticated and have a lot of high level people working for them, right? As they start using AI and they're smart on what they do, then what happens to their, like, how does that affect what resources they even need past their own team? Or are they going to adjust that team so maybe they need more resources because they'd rather outsource the resource? They can look as a broker, as an outsourced in-house, whatever, leasing person, versus an outside person, or mortgage broker. So these are the changes. I tell someone, if you're in sales, buckle down, what's the goal? If you have a business that you have commission salespeople, you're going to be paying higher commissions going forward. So make sure that you're tooling how you're going to carry that to go that. If you're someone that does linear work, that someone just giving you work to execute and do, you're seeing it already. Like, we went back to all the underwriters and said, okay, here's start using Claude. And they went into start using Claude within the same day. It's not like, oh, they came back with an answer. Within the same day, the reactions from the brokers and the staff were as follows. The brokers came, they saved 10 minutes, 10% to 75% of the time. For example, a stupid updated rent roll. You put a beautiful rent roll together. 2 months later, the deal's still going on. The client's updated rents. He sends you a PDF. You have to open it, break the PDF, compare the notes.
Put it back in, right?
Upload it to Claude, both the old and the new, and say, please reconcile 60 seconds later. So you think, like, everything, the whole dynamic just starts to change there. The newer brokers, who's going to explain to me the deal? I don't understand the deal. They feel so much more empowered. They know everything, right? You look back at your light bulb moment, you realize, I got this. I understand this business. You had someone you can rely on, ask questions to. That someone is Claude. The resources are still there for them. But the whole change of it. So you can have the naysayers. It makes mistakes. It does make tons of mistakes. Let's say it makes more mistakes than you think. Do I make mistakes? Yeah. Does your underwriter make mistakes? You review it. That's the whole process there. So people are going to naysay. While they naysay, my advice to everyone is put your head down and learn everything that it could do. Every single thing that it could do, you should go out there and figure out how to get it done. I came to the point I use both. I
was going to ask you about that. You keep talking about Claude, but do you use another?
So pretty much it is so smart. It is so, my son coined it right. He said, Claude gets it. It gets it. And it goes deeper into questions and wants to fully understand before it gives you an answer. It gets it. You feel like you're talking to ChatGPT, it's going to execute like an amazing worker. But you tell it, it's smart. It's not like, there's no level of dumb like ChatGPT. But sometimes someone gets it and then they execute based on getting it. Someone takes your instructions and executes.
Do you sometimes give the same set of instructions to both and just watch what happens?
All the time. And now that, I send the other one what the other one said. No ego.
Right.
And they answer back. I like this point number 3, but point number 4 is not. Now, it doesn't say send regards. It doesn't go that far, but it's on a first name basis. But it's amazing. So I'm wondering when it comes together. So one of the very, very cool things that how did we build on what we decided to put Avery? We made a decision is that I don't want that Avery is going to take credit for building tools. But the plan was we should build AI tools. And I thought I have to build a full underwriting module. This is amazing now because there are people who build skills and you could use them. And basically I could tell a person, go here, you could use Claude here, and it's here, it's set up, everything's working for you. The issue is, a few issues. Let's say one version is more expensive than the other. Or the tokens. Or you want this question is better at ChatGPT. Or there's another, Gemini comes out. Or this one comes out, and you switch. The problem is, where's your memory?
Right.
Your memory's in multiple places. So first of all, people should know that you could port your memory.
I was going to say, there's probably a way to take your entire list of everything you've been doing and say,
yes,
this is me.
Right. But there's not a way. It's going to be very confusing if I ask 3 questions here and 3 questions. How do you?
Right.
So my son built for me. That's how Avery's working. And now, based on this experience, he's offering out to the world, which I told him is the first time I saw a product that every company in the world and every person is going to use. You go on Avery right now, and you go there, I give everyone $5 free tokens. Okay? Worth of tokens. You could choose, his product is called One Mind, Multiple Brains. Let's say you want real estate and you have this product. It's yours, you own it. You go to a hosting company to host all your data, it's yours. onerealestate.com/one mind. And it looks like your Claude page, like Claude or every time you ask a question, you could choose which LLM should answer it. Because you hook up behind the scenes an API to Claude, an API, no monthly fees, API to Claude, API to ChatGPT, to Gemini, whatever you want. And then you can decide which one you want to ask questions to. But when it's answering you, only one memory. Right. So it's called One Mind, Multiple Brains. And, there's a story just now that's around social media. If you get shut down on social media, that's it. Not to talk to you. Someone has a business on social media, it's over. So Anthropic, which owns Claude, there's a company of 110 people. They cut them down for breach of service, whatever the deal was. They couldn't do business that next day. This system, you own your mind. So if that's the case, start asking questions to ChatGPT. And what happens if Claude is down for the next 2 hours? What are you doing? Yes. You're not crippled. So it's one mind. So other people can come with different versions of this. Yeah, but that's where the future has to go to.
Right.
But imagine your cell phone in a bad zone. Okay, start using off AT&T towers.
Right.
Now go to you can't do that. That's the same concept of where the world's going to. So I think right now, what's interesting is that, I was just walking in here. I was on the phone with the CMO, and he's like telling me, like, you have to explain to a person that's buying tokens how it works. I said, I'm not explaining it to them. I'm just telling them very simple. Go to Claude and buy an API yourself. Or if you want me to sell it to you, whatever they're charging you per million tokens, I'm adding $3 as a surcharge. No, but don't people want to understand how much? That's Claude's problem. That's the person's problem wants to get involved in the AI. Like, it's a new world, a new lingo you have to learn. Tokens and all these things work.
So I'm actually not familiar with tokens because I know that there's just a membership. I mean, you're paying a subscription.
So this is
the tokens.
So this is what's really happening behind the scenes. Think about a cell phone service. Okay, What's happening is that this is the fact as we know today. Claude operates it's called tokens. So imagine if you bought a debit card and you went to Dave & Buster's. Okay, put $100 on the card. In your case, monthly fee, put $20 on the card. Okay, and every game has a different price. So the way it works is when you ask a question, it takes up less memory, less tokens. When it processes and gives you information, it takes more.
Right.
The fact is a token is 4 characters. Okay. So the word that is 1 token. On average, a word is about 2.5 tokens. Longer words, shorter words, that's what they say it's about 2.5 tokens. They sell it in blocks of 1 million. So now you go to the gas station, $3 a gallon. Not today, but $3 a gallon.
Right.
How much you fill up, that's what happens. At a rate of, so when you add Claude, the versions of Claude, you could ask Claude this question, is that the old version is $3 per million tokens. It takes 400,000 words. The new version is, I think, $5. When they're giving out, they're answering you. So if you're doing underwriting, it's more commute processing time.
Right.
Now you understand when it says, when you're polite to AI, it costs you money. Every word please costs a token.
Right. So what happens? I've never gotten a notification that said, you've reached your limit.
No, so this is what happens. I'm going to do a Claude plan because I spent more time prep for today. So Claude has a plan, individual plan, $20. They have 3 plans, $20, $100, and $200. The $20 plan, it's a little bit opaque. Officially, you're getting, probably because you're prepaying, right? You're probably getting $25, let's say, we're making this up, worth of tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason why you don't have getting the bills, like how heavy are you using it for? Using it for graphics? Are you using it for underwriting? No. So you're not getting anywhere. Asking questions at $5 per million, you have like, what are you asking it in the course of a month? You're not using it a lot. You don't realize. But when you speak to people that are heavy users, it's saying, come back in 2 hours.
It is saying that even with the subscription.
Because you filled it in. That's so then the next thing you could do is buy the $100 plan, which is prepaid. And they'll probably give you I'm assuming it's $120 worth. Buy the $200 plan.
But you're not getting more or better information for the higher plan.
Information is the same.
Same.
You're buying tokens. It's like buying minutes on your cell phone. The prepaid is cheaper than if you pay a la carte. Like that type of idea. Because they know 1 month you're not going to use the $100 plan, so they made money off you, you know? So that's the first way you could do it. The second way you could do it is you could get a team plan, a company plan. So you have a company here, 5 people, pay $25 each person. It's $125. The beauty in a company plan, someone said it works in an individual plan, is you could have it that after any of you hit your $25, then it can stop pulling off the meter.
Other people?
No. Everyone gets their $25, whatever they get. But instead of you having to go to a $100 plan, if you want, you could go to an API straight by the, like a meter. You have a meter in your house, it'll automatically run on a meter, and then you pay per usage. So if today you're doing something very heavy, today you'll get an extra bill of $6 for this month if you spend your $25. The benefit of the team plan is the company information is shared. You could do projects together. There's different things you can do together.
Interesting.
The next thing is an API straight up. If you built a website, if on your website you want to allow people to ask questions using AI,
we have that. We have that feature.
So then, unbeknown to you, you have a bill you're getting from either Claude or ChatGPT, who's answering those questions, Claude or ChatGPT. That your website is plugged into an API, okay? And I would recommend that you actually look into this and that you can direct to Claude or ChatGPT. I'm a data company. I don't want to be stuck with some big bill and using Claude, but I want you to come through my site. So entice you to start. You know what you're doing? It's $5. When you finish the $5, you have 2 choices. My preference is go to Claude, get an API key, hook it up here. If you one day didn't realize how much tokens you're using, you're not going to be upset at me, upset at Claude. I don't want to know from it. I don't make money off that. If you don't want to go to Claude, I should give you a debit card of credits, another $10 worth of credits at a time or $20 recurring. No problem. I'm telling you what I'm charging you. They charge you $15 per million on outs. I'm adding $3 surcharge. If it's worth it to you, I have to cover processing risk that, there's a mistake made. They're having the big debate. What happens when you have enough money for like 8 tokens and you ask a question that costs 87 tokens? So, and you don't have it on auto replenish. It's not going to stop in the middle. I'm stuck paying the bill for those 6.
Right.
So I want to make my money on Avery GPT and be a total resource to you. The same way that my real life was. You ask me questions, I can answer you. Instead, come here to Claude. So I went out, like Avi Sharon from Camabees, it just gave one of his skills that he's using when he's asset managing a property. Mm-hmm. It's now on Avery. So you could go and say, when Avi Sharon uploads his numbers, what exactly does he tell his worker? He shared exactly what he tells his worker.
But you can do that. I mean, yes, but I've already heard that as a prompt and I've been using that. Like, what would, and you can put in anybody, right? Do a deep search for me. What would so-and-so do in this situation? How would they evaluate this or how, right? And
how is it supposed to know the answer? It's going to go based on the same way you could assume how this person does business, right? There's something different. Can you imagine you actually called that person up and you said, can you do me a favor? When you actually underwrite the deal, can I have your underwriting module? Some people give it. They don't care. Oh, here's my underwriting module.
Right.
The prompt, you want my prompt when I underwrite a deal, what I tell it? Exactly the wording here. Here's my prompt. In Claude, that prompt is called skill. What skill was used? It's like an output. I want this to look like this. What skill did I use to get that output? That's in layman. So if you go to Avery today, you'll have a bunch of different skills for underwriting, all different types of underwriting. Mm-hmm. Underwriting for equity, sending a deal to a bank, all the different things that we use. And I'm also allowing the industry, if someone has something that you like to take in your business. If you have a certain way you compare which lease is better or worse, right? That's not what makes you sacred. Anyone can do that. But could you imagine if you actually now officially shared it with your clients? Here, when you get lease offers, right? Because they're doing this anyway. See, this is what I learned from people. In the past, I'm not going to let my client have access because then he has to use me. Those days are gone. And what do you mean? He's
this is not really a perfect example.
Well, a tenant has options through you. And he might have the options through other places and has to compare notes of which ones he should take. Right? You give him a presentation, which is better or worse, right? How do you put that presentation together? Once you start using Claude within a very short time, the same way you train your worker, SOP, a teleworker, in effect, you're going to train Claude that way. In the future, you're going to say, Claude, in the same way, please use skill, compare options, and upload all the options and not tell anything else because it already knows the instructions. So a client says, can you give me the instructions you use? Now, what I want to be the clearinghouse is told, yeah, I put it onto Avery. It's all there. You can take it. Because if someone's using it, this is really good. Who made this? Oh, I'm going to call this One Real Estate. So people want to give to have a business, or just in general, people want to help out. But these things will be flooded. So that's my point. You have to realize that everyone's going to know everything. You don't have an edge. There's no edge anymore. It took away the edge. The human, the talking ability, the creative ability, the personality, the meeting the person, taking a tour of the properties, that is always going to be there. I think it'd be more valuable because everyone else is in a dumb world and you're more valuable. Is that no? Everyone that knows how to personality now can compete with you because they know the business. You don't have to say, I've been doing this for 20 years. I don't care if you're doing 20 years. I'm doing this for a year. But you know something? I use Claude. I'm just as smart as you. So I have the same personality and I'm 1 year. No one knows what that's going to shake out. But make sure you come to the table knowing how to do that 1,000%.
So what's next?
This is it.
This is it?
This is it. It's from here till the Messiah, baby. Nothing else coming out. That's what I think. I think this is it. I think at this point, it's going to keep going in this direction. Nothing's going to surprise you anymore. The system's all in place. The question is, are there going to be people opening a business? You have to realize there's no more moat. Tomorrow morning, I want to open this business. I can do it myself. I don't need developers and programmers, and everything changed. I can do a lot more myself. So I think a lot of small businesses are going to open. So the same way Uber drivers make money, right? People do what's called gig economy. I think you have a lot of that. You're going to pay people a la carte to do different things you want. And someone's going to just do a business what they have to. I just think costs are going to come down. You're going to have cleaning help in your house. There's going to be a robot doing it. So, what are you going to do with the extra time? How's it going to work? I'll tell you an interesting thing in the lawsuit now that Elon Musk is suing Sam Altman and the OpenAI. It's supposed to be a non-for-profit, the whole bit. One email really resonated by me. In that lawsuit, it was debating at one point, there's a 14-person board to make decisions. And Elon Musk wrote supposedly, no, something that's going to control humanity cannot be decided by just 14 people. It's like, it's an interesting, that he actually believes that it will control humanity, right? So you start thinking about this thing. So I tell people in the same line of last ago, make sure you're last man standing. But today, know every tool that exists. Know that it's possible. Nothing should surprise you. So I tell somebody, Mendy's giving this presentation. You should listen to that presentation and get to a point that you could give that presentation and actually use it in real life cases, everything you do. So start walking today and you're about to ask someone a question, ask it to Claude first. You're about to do a task, ask Claude, how can I do this task better? Master that. You're going to have a lot of people work for you, a lot of agents. This agent is my marketing agent, does A, B, and C. This agent does this, D, and F. That's what's going to happen. So the new marketing thing is that, because if someone's listening to this and they want to sell me a product, they're actually listening to this. So old school way, if someone's listening, I'll get an email. By the way, Ira, great podcast. I heard what you said about whatever. Can I talk to you about this? I sell this thing. You'll love what I sell. I'm going to take that email, right? You'll take an email if it's directed to you like that way. You know what's happening now? AI. Someone sends the AI. Have an agent. Scrub the web. These are all my contacts. Scrub the web. Deep research. Any of these contacts ever did a podcast. Come back what they did and what angle should I make. And then it goes to the next one, knows how to write. It goes to the next agent. So someone's overseeing the agent.
Yeah.
But this crazy is reality. So the things that people knew how to do is no competitive advantage anymore. Now I sent out 10,000 emails to, hey, rates are up. Right? Think about yourself. You're sending out emails. You're pretty much sending out the same email. You just thought of your message today and you send it out. You might maybe break down your list of 3 different bundles of people. Okay? Landlords, tenants, blah, blah, but that's it. Can you imagine you actually custom every single one? And you knew the history. So say me you remember, this guy would love this space. Why don't you send an automatic email? It's draft you in the morning. You walk in and just approve. Yeah, makes sense, go. And that's where we're going to. So
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild.
So it's wild. So at all levels, it becomes wild. So if that's really the case, then what happens? So I don't know. It's just, so I want to take on the positive approaches. I'm talking to you, you, Claude, and Avery. You got to make sure that you know how to use Claude 1,000,000,000%. If you're in real estate, Avery. If you're in a different industry, it's you, Claude, and what? And that's it. That's the whole universe is going to go from there. Learn everything there is to go. Tomorrow morning, when some company gets nervous, oh my gosh, if I don't jump on, who are they calling? Who they want to hire? Well, they're going to call their youngest kid or their grandkid and say, okay, which friend of yours knows AI cold? And the difference also, by the way, it used to be the nerdy one was the one who tech. It's not like that anymore.
No, tech's available to everyone.
It's not that it's available, not available. The one with the personalities are using it more because they know their weakness. They know that personality, but they don't know how to write that well. And I can just talk to Claude. I went into a heavy negotiation with somebody. Very tough negotiation I had to go into. And, sometimes you say the wrong word, it gets emotional in this thing. And I went to Claude, I said, listen, I'm having a meeting with this person. But I treat Claude like I'm actually speaking to a senior consultant that one of his questions. So I don't just okay, draft something. I give it a background. 4 seconds later, it tells me each question, why it's good, why it's bad, how it would change. It gets it. And then it said, I would actually get rid of question 7, don't bring it up. It can only be bad. There's no good you can get from it. But question number 5, put it before number 3. And then depending on the answer, skip it.
Had the negotiation go.
It was amazing. Nope. By the way, so tell you what it was. You go into you know what you're doing with your negotiations. So it's not like you went from 0 to 100, but you yourself sometimes and the way in sometimes.
Oh, I've practiced role playing certain conversations.
And then you get better clarity.
100%.
Right. And then now, at the same token,
you don't go in blind. It's preparing.
So it's not just the preparing. Sometimes on the way in, you're telling someone what you're going through. They give you an idea. Oh, great idea. Claude knows every idea. So like, if whoever doesn't use it, like I look at a person like, I don't understand you. Like, I just don't get it. Literally, someone called me the other day for a reference, someone who worked by me. And I told the person, I said, listen, here's the story. Ask the person with their belief system today on AI. Forget about where it was 6 months ago, 2 years ago. If they are equal to you or more aggressive than you in AI, hire them. If they're behind you, you feel you're going to pull them, don't take them. Right? They're good people. By the way, it's past tense. It's no longer the future. So there's no visionary Ira anymore. It's over. This is going way faster.
I feel like there still is visionary, and I know that there's going to be more to come.
But I'll give you an example.
Because you're constantly
but with God's help, popping ideas in my head, it's more like how I navigate in this water. But it's not like I think that tomorrow, the whole new world is coming out there tomorrow morning. Is someone going to come up with creative, a use case? Like my son figured out this idea that it's a real problem. It's a problem for one user. If you're a heavy user and you have to do 3 different things, he's charging $1,600 for it. So it's worth it for one person to pay $600 to not be beholden by them, to have your memory in one place. Just that alone is worth it. So he was thinking, the only people are going to buy it, because I looked, if someone has 20 people in the company, they're paying $500 a month. Within 3 months, probably using 2 plans, Claude and ChatGPT, and they're nervous the new one comes out tomorrow. That makes sense. I said, think about that rich person there. That now he's have a whole staff. He's not going to pay $600 one time. It's the cheapest investment in his life that he ever made for something he's going to use every day. He's using every single day, and it opens up a whole universe. When you do a webinar telling people about AI, and everyone's skeptical about everything, and within a couple of days, there were 1,000 people, and it just kept escalating. So yes, bringing on an Avi Sharon onto it, and you're going to see someone from the top down to speak, right? He's 60 years old, multi-billion-dollar portfolio. So it's not like some kid who woke up yesterday and telling you this. Right. You're going to listen. And he's telling you live what's actually happening in his company. But that over 3,000 people sign up for it. And that people are nervous. Someone said to me, I'm sorry, but I realize I can't come. Is there going to be a recording? So the funny part is that we're sending out, it's going to be over, let's say, whatever it takes. It's over. 2 minutes later, we're going to send out an email. Thank you very much. Right. And a summary of the whole event. And people can blow their mind, not just like your script you get from Zoom info, but it's going to be done in a whole PDF, a whole presentation. And it takes 2 seconds. Yeah. When the full videos be edited, whatever, be a few hours later. But just to show people, like, this is the new world. You were just on a video and look what you got 3 seconds later. Right. We're living in a whole different world.
It's unbelievable. It makes me feel, Rabbi Joey Haber recently spoke for women, like they had an H3. And he said, he told over a story how they had put out like a futuristic newspaper. I think it was the New York Times or New York Post. And on the front cover, it said it was maybe 2030 at that time, or whatever the future date was. They put out candlelighting on it because candlelighting was always on the cover. And they said, we really don't know what's going to be in the future, but we do know that the women are still going to light candles. And I'm like thankful, as much as we use all this and it's so good for us, that we do have our break. And 100%. That will always exist.
It's 24 hours. We're not using a phone. But I'll tell you one thing, which in your own industry you should do. When I was talking once to your husband, one of the things he was saying is that there's an expertise that he brings to the table. Now, maybe Claude could learn some of it, not learn some of it. He could just like come to a building and know that, oh, you're not going to be able to have enough industrial building for trucks to turn around. And it officially looks good, but and practically this is not going to work. And all that thing. This is, I think, the thing you have to look into in your business. You have to look into eVTOL. It's electric vehicle, take off, landing. That is like we were growing up, the kids as Jetsons, but it's real. It's here. And you could, like a drone that could carry people. It's going to land on your building and take you home. So that's going to change. There's a lot of things here, especially sitting here in Lakewood. So first of all, look into it. So you have clients building new buildings, make sure there's a place for the landing to go up and down. That's number one. Number two, look into it and how serious it's really becoming and what it really takes, how it's going to work, because you could see potentially a big landlord offering that as a service. Because what's the dynamic here? Everyone used to live in Lakewood. So the building we're in is in Lakewood. So everyone could work here. But now the people live in Toms River and Jackson, and the commute is a half hour. They're coming to work. It's only working 9 to 3. Now, first of all, people won't mind the 9 to 3 so much anymore because they could accomplish a lot more. A lot of differences, good, bad, different. I don't go down
We're not getting into it, yeah.
But that's a big difference, right? If you use someone new, no problem. I can now get to work in 2 minutes anywhere. Change a lot of dynamic. So that someone's going to come ahead of the curve when it is. That's actually working. They're getting licensing and all these things. So this is not going to be like,
I don't know, foreign. Lakewood and flying people doesn't sound like a good combination.
Yeah, it's happening over, but again, happening over the world, meaning there's also plenty of people moved here for jobs, right? I don't have to work in North Jersey. I could be home in 10 minutes. Like even now, people drive a car automatic. They don't care what they're working out of.
Right.
Tesla drives them. So all these things are changing, but the biggest things that change for the work life is going to be these EVTOLs, the next thing. So it doesn't affect my business. I want it for shtick when it comes out. I want to try it.
You want to be on it.
Yeah, I want to be on it. But
buckle up.
Yeah, but I don't have. It's not affecting where I'm living and working. But that's in your industry. That's where and that's why I tell you the same thing. You start knowing about it, and you start talking to people now about it. The first time it starts becoming serious, you're the expert that knows that in the future. That's the place to do. So
Claude, it is.
Claude,
yeah. Well,
Claude and Avery.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good.
Thank you so much for being here. This was beyond insightful. I always learn a tremendous amount from you. And we're excited to see what you come up with next, because I know this is just the beginning.
That's what God puts in my head.
This is just the beginning.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. It was very exciting. Thank you.
That's it for today's episode of Just One Thing. If you've learned something new, feel a little more informed, or know someone who definitely needs to hear this, pass it on. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. We've got more great conversations coming your way. One topic, one expert, one thing at a time. Until then, keep learning, keep asking questions, and remember, it only takes one thing.